Infectious agents can be classified into 5 main groups: viruses, bacteria, helminths, protozoa, and fungi. Each of these are examples of agents that can cause infectious disease. Plasmodium, listed in the protozoa category, is most widely known for being the causative agent of malaria. The life cycle of an infectious agent is broken down into the following 5 steps. Step 1. Exposure to the host by infectious agent. Step 2. Find a niche within the host that is beneficial to the infectious agent and adhere to the host cells. Step 3. Elude both the host's innate and adaptive immunity. Step 4. Begin to replicate within the host using the host body as a means of obtaining resources. Step 5. Leave the host by ways of transmission pathways to spread to a new host. When looking at climate change, there is a need to be able to predict the potential consequences in relation between rising temperatures and infectious agents. When temperatures rise, it's possible for there to be a change in the spread of both hosts and pathogens. For example, both malaria as well as Lyme disease continue to appear further up into the northern hemisphere. The life cycle of an infectious agent may also change, as increased temperatures can accelerate their life cycle. Lastly, temperature increases can have an effect on the host's ability to fight an infection. In places where the water temperatures are increasing, there has been an increase of outbreaks of infectious agents, like what has been studied in coral reefs.
Host-pathogen relationships are influenced by climate. Many pathogens, such as viruses and bacteria, thrive in environments affected by temperature and humidity changes. Climate factors can impact both the pathogen's growth and the host's immune defenses. For example, warmer conditions might increase pathogen replication while reducing the host's ability to resist infection. Host-pathogen interactions are also affected by temperature increase. As temperatures increase, pathogens replicate faster, leading to more severe outbreaks. At the same time, hosts experience weakened immune defenses, making them more susceptible to infections. Also, fluctuating temperatures can disrupt immune responses, further intensifying disease risks in both humans and animals.
The metabolic theory of ecology is a theory that uses an organism's metabolic rate, ambient temperature, and body size to predict responses to climate warming. MTE is important because it allows researchers to predict how climate change might alter the balance of host-parasite interconnections and gives a better understanding of the ecological patterns happening within the organism. Community ecology following climate change example. Infection of monarchs by the protozoan O. electroscura increases in parts of the U.S. where monarchs breed year-round as a result of the establishment of exotic milkweed species in milder winter climates.
How keystone species hosts can create an ecological impact. Keystone species hosts are plants or other producers that provide shelter and food for other keystone species. When affected by climate change and infectious diseases, keystone species can create ecological impacts that spread across multiple ecosystem levels. For example, due to the warming climate, new pathogens have emerged in marine life, specifically coral reefs, which is causing a decline in the species. The declining species is negatively affecting the organisms that are living in the reefs, which eventually disrupts the entire marine ecosystem as a whole. How raising temperatures affects commensal and mutualistic microbes in microbial communities. Commensal microbes benefit from the relationship with the host, while the host is not affected, meaning they're not benefiting but not getting harmed either. On the other hand, mutualistic microbes benefit while also providing benefit to the host. With rising temperatures, it can disturb the normal responsibility of commensal or mutualistic microbes, turning them from good, helpful organisms into harmful pathogens. This can assist in the growth of diseases. For example, in agricultural settings, higher temperatures can reduce the effectiveness of entomopathogenic fungi, which is fungi that kills insects, and bacterial mutualists that provide antibiotics to protect the plants. This makes plants more at risk of diseases.
Biodiversity loss is ultimately the consequence of climate change. Biodiversity loss can result in increased rate of pathogen transmission, resulting in infectious disease increase in humans, plants, and wildlife. It can also result in the loss of dilution effect, or in other words, the reduction of disease risk, quicker extinction of species, and loss of host pathogen interactions. Phenology is a study of how climate changes impacts the life cycles of plants and wildlife. Many species tend to change their migration routes. With climate warming, they tend to move towards higher elevations and latitudes, and there has been a trend that those who use seasonal habitats have an increased risk for transmission of infectious disease. Phenological changes in pathogenic life cycles include changes in feeding behavior and changes in timing of vector and life stages. Climate change affects the timing of shedding and development of environmental transmission stages. For example, parasites may experience early hatching, early season exposure to hosts, and encounter early life stages of hosts.
Impact that wildlife diseases could have on humans. The most important impact that wildlife diseases could have on humans would be species extinction. When species go extinct or die out, we lose out on food. This could also hurt us economically because of the livestock losses. Apart from that, and possibly the most obvious impact, would be the spread of disease. Diseases can be passed from animals to humans fairly quickly and easily, and after it's spread to one human, the disease can spread like wildfire to people all over the world. Societal implications. Forecasting and modeling are important because when we are able to predict a disease costs, and/or its mitigations, it helps people prepare. The proper precautions can be taken before the disease is in full effect. Mechanistic models. Models that can monitor the relationship between climate change and diseases so that we can stay one step ahead. Climate change and disease risk across different systems. Warmer winters and longer summers make it easier for disease-carrying vectors to survive longer than they normally would. This is vector-borne diseases. Also, things like floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes can cause disruptions in the food chain because of the water contaminations, and this is food and waterborne diseases. Climate-disease interactions and their effects on diseases. Changes in the climate and temperatures can strongly affect the spread of diseases. It can also affect how strong they are and how long they last.